Kautuhalaya Dityanam Yoshidvesho Mayadrita Pasyata Surakaryani Gate Piyushabhajane.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said.
Kautuhalaya.
Kautuhalaya.
For the bewildering.
For the bewildering.
Daityanam.
Daityanam.
Of the demons.
Of the demons.
Yoshidvesha.
Yoshidvesha.
The form of a beautiful woman.
The form of a beautiful woman.
Maya.
Maya.
By me.
By me.
Dritaha.
Drita.
Assumed.
Assumed.
Pasyata.
Pasyata.
Seeing that it is necessary for me.
Seeing that it is necessary for me.
Surakaryani.
Surakaryani.
For executing the interest of the demigods.
For executing the interest of the demigods.
Gate.
Gate.
Having been taken away.
Having been taken away.
Piyushabhajane.
Piyushabhajane.
The jug of nectar.
A jug of nectar.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, when the demons took away the jug of nectar, I assumed the form of a beautiful woman to bewilder them by directly cheating them and thus to act in the interest of the demigods. Purport. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead assumed the form of the beautiful woman Mohini Murti, the demons were certainly captivated, but the demigods present were not. In other words, those who maintain a demonic mentality are bewildered by a beautiful woman, but those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, or even those on the platform of goodness, are not bewildered. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knew that because Lord Shiva is not an ordinary person, he cannot be bewildered even by the most beautiful woman. Cupid himself tried to invoke Lord Shiva's lusty desires in the presence of Parvati, but Lord Shiva was never agitated. Rather, the blazing fire from Lord Shiva's eyes turned Cupid into ashes. Therefore, Lord Vishnu had to think twice about what kind of a beautiful form would bewilder even Lord Shiva. Consequently, he was smiling gravely, as stated in the previous verse, Prahasya Bhavagambiram. A beautiful woman generally cannot induce Lord Shiva to be lusty, but Lord Vishnu was considering whether there was any form of woman who could enchant him. Translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, when the demon took away the jug of nectar, I assumed the form of a beautiful woman to bewilder them by directly cheating them, and thus to act in the interest of the demigods. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurum militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayanam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhavadikamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Vishnu Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Taptakarshan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhayascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Ekam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamam Vande Shri Guru Paramananda So thank you very much again for this wonderful opportunity to be here in this beautiful temple,
Especially
in this beautiful city, on the beautiful occasion of a very special day today, but including many things. It's Valentine's Day. It's interesting that today in the purport we're speaking about how Lord Shiva destroyed Cupid, who is usually very busy on Valentine's Day, meddling in everyone's business. Actually, that's why Lord Shiva was very disturbed by Kamadev, because he was meddling in his private business with Parvati Devi. Actually, the demigods wanted Lord Shiva to have a son because they needed somebody to help them fight against the demons. They needed a commander-in-chief, and it was prophesied that this commander-in-chief was going to be the son of Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva is busy in his transcendental meditation, and Parvati Devi completely accepts that. She's also very much absorbed, and she also very much likes to listen to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva narrates a lot of things to her. She's very much... But the demigods, they wanted them to have a baby, not to discuss scripture. So they asked Cupid, maybe you can help us. You're very expert, you generally get everybody, so please. And Lord Shiva, he felt something was strange, and he looked like, why? And he saw Kamadev pointing his arrow, about to shoot, and he opened his third eye and burned him to ashes. So he was meddling in Lord Shiva's business, and he didn't appreciate that. Anyway, after Lord Shiva and Parvati, they had a Kartikeya, which is another pastime also. It's very interesting how he came about, and he led the army of the demigods to victory, and that's another pastime. But anyway, today we're talking about this. And Prabhupada explains in the purport that Krishna is smiling, and why is he smiling? Because he's thinking, what kind of a form I have to take in order to attract Lord Shiva. It's not an ordinary woman's form. And in the purport also Prabhupada describes that only the demons were bewildered by Mohini Murti. The demigods, everybody was there, everybody saw her. And she was serving the demigods, so she was interacting with them. And nobody was bewildered. So Krishna is smiling because in a sense, he's going to put Lord Shiva to test. So he's having a good time and he's smiling. And in the previous verse says he's smiling deeply, like a lot. He's very pleased with himself. So anyway, Krishna has a sense of humor. But in another way also, we have to understand that devotees often take these positions to teach us something. So if, in a sense, of course, Lord Shiva is not an ordinary person, and he's not bewildered just by a woman, like we may be. You know, we may become bewildered by the opposite sex, and we might lose control. This can happen to us. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being like we are, but he takes this position to teach us that we should be very, very careful with the illusory energy. We can be bewildered at any time. We're subordinate. We're under her control, and at any moment we can be completely. So Lord Shiva is willing to take this role, and Krishna is willing to have some fun. So we should also see this as a pastime, and not think, oh my God, Lord Shiva, or also become too fearful. Oh my God, if this can happen to Lord Shiva, then what about me? We should not become paralyzed like this. We should be aware, of course. We should be aware of who we are, who Lord Shiva is, why this pastime is taking place. But we should be very careful. But we should also appreciate the beauty of this interaction between Krishna and Lord Shiva. And it's also interesting that when Lord Shiva killed Cupid destroyed him, there was nobody that was qualified to take on his position. So then for some time, Krishna had to fill in that position, Krishna himself. And it is also said that Cupid is known as Madan. So he bewilders everybody. Madan bewilders everybody. And Krishna bewilders Madan. He's Madan Mohan, because he completely bewilders Cupid. And Srimati Radharani bewilders Krishna. She's known as Madan Mohana Mohini. So we can also think about that. So from this purport, I have never heard it, but we can understand that Krishna took a specific form. Shri Shri Radha Parishitaki Jai, Nitai Sachi Sutaki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Jai. Krishna took a special form, not just the Mohini Murti form. We have to understand that it was even more beautiful, more special, specifically for Lord Shiva A beautiful woman generally cannot induce Lord Shiva to be lusty. But Lord Vishnu was considering whether there was any form of a woman who could enchant him. So Krishna put his thinking cap on. Oh, what does he like? Krishna knows him very well. He's his devotee, so he's thinking, how can I? Also, Krishna wants to please him, because Lord Shiva came, he offered nice prayers. And he said, I would really like to see this form. It's actually not uncommon for devotees to ask Krishna to show him a specific form. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, I want to see your universal form. And then Arjuna is bewildered by it. He's frightened by it. And then Krishna has to pacify him. He says, don't worry. Here, this is my forearm form. What do you think of it? Okay, and this is the form you know. Okay. Be pacified. So Krishna, this is quite common. There's also another pastime. This is in the Mahabharata. There was a Brahmin and his wife who had children, and every time the baby would be born, he would immediately die. And generally when there's a lot of infant mortality, it's considered that there's a bad king. If the king is pious, there's no infant mortality. So this Brahmin, he came, and he would come and he would just throw his dead baby in Yudhishthir's court and leave. So it was quite, imagine a Brahmin walks in, puts his dead baby in the throne and in the court hall, and he walks out very angry. And this happened, I think, how many? 17? So many times, So finally, Arjuna, he said, okay, I will stand guard outside your house when your wife is delivering a baby, and Death himself won't be able to come and take this baby from you. And even then, Arjuna was standing there with Krishna, and baby died. So they went to see Yamaraj. What are you doing? He said, I'm not guilty. I have nothing to do with those babies. They're not here. Not you, then who? It was Mahavishnu. And then Mahavishnu explains, said, I have taken these babies because I was very eager to see both of you. He wanted to see Krishna and Arjuna. So it's very common for even different forms of Krishna want to see different forms of Krishna. Mahavishnu was very eager to see the two-armed form of Krishna and his companion Arjuna. So he stole all these babies during all these years to make them come. So this is Krishna. This is the amazing beauty and attractiveness of Krishna, that he attracts himself and his devotees. And even though the devotees, they have a relationship with Krishna in a specific form, sometimes when they hear about a different form, they might become curious. Oh, I would really like to see you in that form. And sometimes they don't like it at all. So no. There's also pastime of Krishna's wives in Dwarka. They heard all these pastimes when Krishna was living in Vrindavan. He was running around, not fully dressed, just a short dhoti, barefoot, playing on a flute. So they want to see that, and some of them like it. Some of them said no. No, we like you like this. We like you very decorated. And then there's also the pastime of the gopis when they finally meet him in Kurukshetra during the eclipse. They say, no, we're not happy to see you here like this. We want you back in Vrindavan, barefoot, with your hair open, with just your flute in your hand. But we don't like you with your armor and your crowns. And no. So that even though they might like it or not like it, they are still eager to see it. They still want to see. So this is I think it is a very appropriate topic for us to think about today, about the working of this bewilderment and what it is. And Prabhupada explains that it's the desire of the infinite living entity to lord it over material nature. So because everything is topsy-turvy, our nature is to serve. But now, because it's upside down, we want to control. We want to control material nature. So that's the it's a very beautiful book by Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, How to Transform Lust into Love. And the key is to serve. You have to serve somebody in order to love them. If you just want to be served by someone, it's lust. So you can try to apply that in your everyday relationship with the different people around you. If you love someone, you should serve them. Prabhupada said, if you love someone, you serve them. And there's many ways of serving somebody. You can share prasadam. There's the nine processes of associating. But we should always try to be serving someone. If you're not serving someone, you're most probably taking advantage of them. It's a very fine line. If you're not serving someone, you're taking advantage of them. This is our conditioned state, and we're not even aware of it because we are so used to it, we don't even perceive it. But as soon as we are not serving somebody, we're most probably taking advantage of them. So there's so many stories, but there's a very beautiful story of Prabhupada. He was in the early days when he traveled back to India with a group of few disciples. He was still staying in his Radha Damodar quarters, and Yamuna Mataji was cooking for him. And she would cook for Prabhupada, and she would distribute prasadam to everybody. Like she would cook for everybody. And one day Prabhupada, he saw Shrutakirti was taking prasadam and Yamuna Devi was serving him. So he called her, he said, this is very good. Yamuna Devi is serving you, but tomorrow you should cook and you should feed her. And Shrutakirti Prabhu, he says, my God, thank God she never had to eat what I cooked. It would not have been a service for her. But this was, Prabhupada was teaching them that we should accept service, but we should also serve someone. Maybe not in the exact same way, but we should find a way to serve each other. Sometimes it can be very simple as just saying a few words of appreciation, or if you know somebody's coming late, making sure you keep prasadam for them, or keep the gate open. So there's so many things we can do to serve each other, or just being aware that there's different devotees. We should, thank you, we should make sure, I don't know, keep space for them in the temple rooms, that we should be aware of each other. And if we are aware of each other, then we will more likely find ways of serving each other. I also wanted to speak today a little bit about Vishnu Priya Devi. It's her appearance day, or disappearance day today.
Appearance day.
Appearance day. So Vishnu Priya Devi is a very special personality, of course. She was, when Ravan kidnapped Sita in Dwapara Yuga, this is revealed in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, I think. There was one devotee, he invited Lord Chaitanya one day to have lunch. And when Lord Chaitanya came, a little bit before lunch, not just not at the time, he found that devotee, he was sitting he was reading the Ramayana, and he was crying and crying and crying and crying. And he had not done anything. He hadn't finished worshipping his deity. So what to speak of cooking or anything? He was not ready to welcome Lord Chaitanya. What happened? I said, well, I was reading the Ramayana, and I just read about how Ravan snatched Sita. And it's so painful. How can this happen? How can Sita, the internal potency of Krishna, have been left without protection? Or how could a demon touch her? How do we understand this? So he was crying. It was too painful for him to think, that a demon grabbed Sita, kidnapped her, is carrying her away, and she's crying. Her clothes are falling apart. He wants to take her as his wife. It's a horrible thing, So Lord Chaitanya, he explained, he said, no, of course, she is the internal potency. And the demons cannot touch her. So what happened was, when Lakshman, he drew the line around the hut to protect her, he invoked Agni in that line. It's called Lakshman Rekha, was protected by Agni Dev. And when Sita crossed that line, Agni Dev substituted Sita by Chaya Sita. It was not, and he kept the real Sita with him in his abode. So actually Ravan, he took the shadow, a shadow of Sita. She was not the real Sita. So Lord Chaitanya explained this, and this devotee was pacified, and then he got on with his duties, and he prepared nice prasadam, served everybody, and that pastime was there. But what happened was, later on, of course, Sita remained in Lanka for it was almost 11 years. It was the major part of the exile. Ravan kidnapped her in the beginning of the exile.
No, it was just 1 year.
Just 1 year?
Yeah,
the
less
last
than a
year.
year. Less than a year.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for that.
Mm.
So yeah, there was just before the
She took
exile
a
was
vow
over.
also that she'll not eat it.
He kidnapped her.
Mm.
So when the war is over, Ram has built the bridge, and he goes to pick her up, And Ram is a very special personality. He's actually the only avatar of the Lord that we can imitate, if you dare to do so. He's the Maryada Purushottam. He sets the perfect example. So as a perfect husband, he has to rescue his wife. That's what is expected of a perfect husband. So he does that. He kills Ravana, he crosses Lanka, brings his army with him. It's a big yagya. It's a big... and when he does that, finally, they bring Sita to him, and he doesn't even look at her. And then he says, "I cannot take you back." Oh, imagine, imagine the situation. Everybody's shocked. You know, all the monkeys, everybody's saying, "What? You know, we've done all of this for this." And then he says, "Nobody will accept that you've stayed 1 year in this demon's house and you're still chaste. Who will accept?" So then Sita Devi says, "Well, if you won't take me back, then I'll give up my life. What is the point of me leaving if you don't want to take me back?" So she asks to build a pyre of fire. She says, "I'll give up my body." And when she does so, Agnidev appears, and then he presents the real Sita, and he takes back Chaya Sita, and he explains, "No, this is a real Sita, and this is Chaya Sita, so I'll exchange them again." So Sita and Rama are united, they return to Ayodhya, and of course, then it's this again, but that's a different story. But what happened there was Sita, she felt very obliged to this Chaya Sita. She said, why? Because she took so much hardship for her. For 1 year, she was tortured by the demons. They were torturing her, and we can imagine trying to convince her that she should marry Ravan. And they would make her believe that Ram was dead. They brought the heads of Ram and Lakshman, and they did different magic tricks. They had so many tactics, and they were torturing her. And she endured all of this. So Sita was very grateful. And then she said, in the next incarnation, not the next, in the future incarnation, you will be the wife of. So this is Vishnu Priya Devi. Yes, this is Vishnu Priya Devi. She appeared as, so first Lord Chaitanya, he married a Lakshmi Priya, which is his eternal consort. And she passed away very quickly. She was bitten by a snake, so she was there just a short time. And then Lord Chaitanya, he married Vishnu Priya Devi. And this is Vishnu Priya Devi. She got to spend some quality time, some quality time with Lord Chaitanya. So this was a special blessing or benediction by Sita Devi. Also, the Lord Ram, when he was in exile, he told Sita Devi, he said, in Kali Yuga, I'll take sannyas and I'll leave you. And he felt really bad about that. So this is, again, it's connected. But he told her that he felt really bad that he was going to do that. So anyway, Vishnu Priya was very young when she married Lord Chaitanya. Actually, Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra, they had another son, Vishwambar, who took sannyas. And they were very afraid that maybe this Nimai, he would take sannyas also. So she was very eager to get him married to a very beautiful girl. And he got married to Lakshmi Priya. She was very happy. But Lakshmi Priya passed away, and Mother Sachi was in a lot of anxiety. His father has passed away, his wife has passed away, he'll take sannyas. He will give up on trying to find happiness in the material world, and he'll take sannyas. So she noticed that there was this young girl who every day when Mother Sachi went to the Ganges, this young girl would serve her. So she selected Vishnu Priya Devi to marry Lord Chaitanya. It was a very beautiful marriage. Everybody was very, very happy. And when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, Vishnu Priya Devi was 16 years old. She was very young. The night before he left, she knew within herself that he was going to leave. So she asked him directly, "Are you going to leave?" He said, "No. Of course I'm not going to leave. You're my better half. How can I leave you?" And he pacified her and he put her to sleep. And when she was asleep, he left. He ran away, and she never saw him again. He left her his shoes. He left her his paduka, his wooden shoes. And so she woke up in the morning and she realized what had happened. And she started to cry. And she couldn't even speak to Mother Sachi. She didn't have the courage. She said, "If I tell her that, she's gonna give up her body." But anyway, eventually Mother Sachi found out. And when Lord Chaitanya, he went to Katwa. He took sannyas, he shaved his hair, beautiful pastime. And then he wanted to go to Vrindavan. And Advaita Acharya tricked him and brought him near Navadvip so Mother Sachi could see him. And Mother Sachi asked him, as he said, "If you go to Vrindavan, I will never hear about you. So go to Jagannath Puri, there's always people going back and forth. It's much closer. There's always people going back and forth from Mayapur, Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. I will hear news about you and that will keep me alive." But Vishnu Priya Devi never saw him again. Sorry. And there's this beautiful temple in Navadvip. It's called Dameshwar. She built this deity. It's a beautiful form of Lord Chaitanya. And there's the shoes that he gave her. So
Shoes are still there?
Sorry? Yeah.
Shoes. Oh.
Yeah. So if you go to Mayapur, please visit. It's a very beautiful temple. We have to understand that service in our tradition comes with a lot of sacrifice. It's always, she had to give up Lord Chaitanya's company in order for the world to benefit. And it's interesting because she had gotten him as a reward from her sacrifice a few births ago. She did it as a service. She wasn't expecting anything, but she did a big. And they said, "Okay, because of your wonderful sacrifice and service, we will give you this." And even again, she had to give him up. So it's described that she used to chant a whole day. She was chanting, and she used to put a grain of rice aside for each round she chanted. And at the end of the day, however many grains of rice she had put aside, she would cook that and eat. That's all she ate. So we do not irritate. But yeah, it's a very beautiful temple, Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, very sweet. And you can feel the love there of Vishnu Priya Devi. And she did it for the benefit of the world. So she did it so we can appreciate that. And of course, it's we cannot understand everything. We cannot understand, but we can appreciate that in order to do service, there is sacrifice. And there's and it's always selfless. Like we have to give up so much for service. We can also think of our Srila Prabhupada. You know, he was elderly man living in Vrindavan, next to Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. What more can a devotee want? really speaking, he's living in Vrindavan. He has association of some god brothers who he very much appreciated. Some devotees, very exalted devotees living in Vrindavan. There's a beautiful story of Prabhupada actually had a darshan of Rupa Goswami when he was there. And they came and they asked him to write the books. And it's a nice story because we don't have many stories like this of Prabhupada where we hear about but this story he confirmed it, which is even more rare. Like one day Harishori Prabhu asked him when he was his servant, Prabhupada, we heard that Prabhupada said, oh, everybody knows. He didn't deny it. He confirmed it. Oh yeah, that's common knowledge, everybody knows. But he gave that up. And we have to understand, he did write in his diary that today I am feeling a lot of separation from Sri Vrindavan, my lords Gopinath, Govinda Gopinath and Madan Mohan. It's not just words, it's not just prose, oh, it looks beautiful, so let me write it. Prabhupada was feeling a lot of separation from Vrindavan, from his lords. He had a personal relationship with these deities. He has seen them and he left, and he's now in this strange city where he doesn't know anybody really. And this was his sacrifice. Prabhupada said, I didn't know it at the time, but Krishna was preparing a big miracle. And we have to understand that part of this big miracle is also Vishnu Priya Devi's sacrifice. She gave Lord Chaitanya to the world, and Prabhupada brought Lord Chaitanya's vision to the. So this is our heritage. We sacrifice a lot in order to do service. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever difficulties I face in your service, they are the source of my greatest pleasure. Devotees are so. What a strange bunch. They like to suffer. No, but we have to understand it's a question of love. Sometimes it is compared to the love of a mother. Sometimes, especially when the children are very small, they may cry a lot and they soil themselves, and they are sick or they have a lot of dribble, and then the mother never says, oh my god, this baby is useless. He cannot even stand. He's soiling himself. The mother never says that to the mother. So to devotees, service is like that. Even if service is very difficult, and in doing this service you might commit some mistakes for which you get some criticism, some chastisement, and so many things you get from service before you get, oh, very nice. you get before you get the, oh Prabhu, very nice service, thank you, you get always, I said, 50 ways to 100. But this is, to a devotee, this is what keeps him motivated. I have to do it. I have to do it better. I have to do it to please my spiritual master. Keeps him going. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this is the greatest source of my pleasure. Whenever I get difficulties in executing my service. So it's a very elevated position, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but we can learn from it. And sometimes when we may feel a little bit discouraged that the body is not keeping up, or the congregation is not keeping up, or even the building is not the building is not keeping up. Oh my God. These difficulties and these challenges are the greatest source of our pleasure, because we can't really, we're not in the position, I'm not in a position where I can see Krishna smiling and telling me, oh, no, today I want a turban. No. But I am very much in a position where I can see my faults, and when I can see the shortcomings, and where I get chastised for different things. And we have to take this as the reciprocation from our service. We're offering a faulty service, so we're gonna get corrected. This is the reciprocation, and it's beautiful. We should be very happy to have this corrections and rectifications, chastisements, difficulties. Sometimes you want to do something and somebody says no. Obstacles, overcoming obstacles. This is, in the words of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our greatest pleasure. So, yeah, I want to just highlight this, and this is also very common in throughout our Vaishnava history. We see so many devotees who try to do service, and then there's some difficulty, and then they correct it, or they don't, and then they achieve perfection again and again and again. The whole Bhagavatam is like that. Different devotees who, in different ways, are engaged in different ways, or for some reason they stop someone's service, or interfere, or decide, no, I want to do this better. And then there's the different consequences, how it's solved, what happens. This person did this, and then this person did that, and then this happened, so then this person had There's always, how it shows how something gets entangled and how it gets detangled again and again. And it's to show us where we are, what we're doing, what we're supposed to do, and how different things we may do, or different attitudes we may take, or different ways we may understand things is going to affect our trajectory. So I'm going to end here. Thank you very much for your attention. Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to ask some addition.
Yeah, I have different questions because you talked about inspiring topics. And thank you for making the connection between the Ramayana and this kind of situation and mission today is very powerful for me. I want to come back to the verse because still I don't understand why the Lord is smiling gravely. What does it mean? How can you be smiling and grave at the same time?
Well, yes, that's yesterday's verse.
Yes.
In the translation.
Which I could not explain because...
You smile with gravity.
Yeah.
And today, in the purport, smiling gravely. I think, I don't know. But today in the purport, I saw... Yeah, gravely again. Maybe it means that he's not mocking Lord Shiva, because there's different ways of laughing at something. So it's a serious... So he's thinking, he's smiling seriously.
Yeah,
what kind of form I'm gonna take? I don't know what it means. I don't have any explanation. Prabhupada quotes the words again from yesterday's, from the previous verse. Prahasya bhava gambiram. Gambira also, Gambira means many different things. we also have to understand sometimes in order to understand better the scriptures, we have to look at the commentaries of the different acharyas. Sometimes Prabhupada just, sometimes the acharyas differ. They have different moods, different understandings of the pastime that's going on. Sometimes Prabhupada uses one acharya's meaning in the translation and then another acharya's explanation in the purport. This is probably explained by some acharya, and Prabhupada just doesn't give context, he just puts the word there. So sometimes when you study Prabhupada's purports, always in connection with the commentaries of the other acharyas, many things like this are made clear. But I would think that in Vedic culture is very much based on respect, and even if respect is given to everybody, even subordinates. So even Lord Shiva is coming and praying to Krishna. Krishna has a very deep, lot of respect for Lord Shiva. So maybe he's thinking about what is going to happen. He already knows what's going to happen. So he's smiling gravely. He doesn't want to mock Lord Shiva. But I don't know. We have to
maybe be a little bit patient and see the next verses. Really...
You want to see?
No, just
in purport. Prabhupada explained for children.
The next purport?
No, in the purport of yesterday, he said exactly why Lord Vishnu he said. So Durga Devi could not capture Lord Shiva's mind, but now that Lord Shiva wanted to see Lord Vishnu in form, Lord Vishnu by his mystic power would assume a form that would capture even Lord Shiva.
And it was
therefore, Lord Vishnu was grave and at the same time was smiling.
There it is.
So we should understand.
But I don't make the connection personally.
So grave is
because I think his grave means also sober, or means it's a serious situation. So he's showing the appropriate emotion, which is it's like a serious situation. But at the same time, he's also smiling because he's going to bewilder Lord Shiva. You know, so I don't know. I think what I think is
maybe it's because Durga Devi, so Mother Nature cannot captivate the Lord, so Purusha, Prakriti cannot be with her as the Lord, but now the Lord takes the position of Purusha. This is why he's great.
Well, I mean, we also have to understand the position of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Krishna, takes the form of Shiva to interact with Durga. Because Krishna doesn't interact with Durga, with his external potency. Krishna only interacts with his internal potency, Srimati Radharani. So that's why they say Lord Shiva is yogurt. You know, he's his own tattva. It's like all the living beings. A living being can be anybody. You can be Lord Brahma, Lord Indra, Varuna. You can be all the demigods. You cannot be Lord Shiva, and you cannot be Lord Vishnu. Those positions are taken. But an ordinary jiva, he can be Lord Brahma, or he can be Indra, different demigods. So Lord Shiva is a very special category, and so we have to understand that because he interacts with Durga as his wife, as his consort, he must be under the control of Durga, like a husband is sometimes under the control of his wife, or as we say, Krishna is under the control of Radharani, because he has chosen this relationship. So, yeah, I think, I don't know, it's not as simple.
Yeah.
It's a deep topic. This whole bewilderment of Lord Shiva is not a simple. It's a very deep matter. So Krishna is smiling gravely. I think Krishna has a sense of humor. He also enjoys pastimes with his devotees. He's very pleased to see Lord Shiva. Maybe he's smiling because he's happy to see Lord Shiva, I don't know. But Prabhupada, he says this. He said that, he's thinking about how he's not bewildered by his consort, but now he will be bewildered by my internal energy. Mohini Murti is Krishna's internal energy. This form that Krishna will take is not Maya, it's not his external, it's his internal energy. So nobody really has access to Krishna's internal energy. Only Krishna has access to his internal energy. So maybe that's why he's also smiling. He's going to give Lord Shiva something very special. But just the thought, Prabhupada explains here that he's thinking about it and he's smiling. We have to take that. Maybe sometimes, this is my experience, you read and later in a few years you come back and you will see something that nobody noticed and it makes sense. So we have to be patient sometimes. The Bhagavatam reveals himself. Thank you very much. You want to say something?
I have a question, very stupid question, if you still have a time. Because when you were telling the story of Sita, that it's Ravana, he only took the shadow of Sita. The question came in my head, when we say there is no difference in the name of Krishna, like his form, paraphernalia, he is absolute. And also in the case of Sita Devi, shadow, paraphernalia and everything, this is absolute. Even if he does the shadow, it is still he does. It's very confusing to me. I don't know if
I think you are a devotee of this devotee, or a Ram Bhakta. We have to understand what touching means also. It's not because we physically, when we say, it's not because you are in Vrindavan that you are in Vrindavan. Your consciousness has to be in Vrindavan. And actually, it is very clear, he said, we cannot touch the internal potency as long as we want to control it. And Ravana, he wanted to enjoy Sita, so he wants to control it. So he cannot even approach it. It's out of the question. But it's also for this pastime. Sita has to be kidnapped because Ram has to and then Ram has to rescue her. It's part of the part of the Leela. And also, Ravan is not an ordinary demon. He has to kill Ram. So in order for Ram to even engage with this person, he has to do something serious for Ram to, or not. Why should the Lord take any of his time away to engage with anybody? They have to do something serious. Prabhupada says, we sometimes say, oh, there's so many demons. Krishna is not coming, these are insignificant. So in order for Krishna to appear and to kill them, he has to do something big. So he thought. And actually this is also all planned by Marichi. In the golden deer. It was his plan. He knew who Ram is. He wanted to be killed by Ram. He said, otherwise I will be eventually killed by Ram. What is the use of being killed by Ravan? I should be killed by Lord Ram. So he went to Ravan and he said, oh, his wife is so beautiful. never seen somebody so beautiful. And then that Ravan is a lusty man, so he has already snatched the wives of everybody in the universe. Yeah, he that's what he did. So he said, oh, what about this human in the forest? I don't know. Child's play. And then Jatayu comes. What is this? Stupid vulture. But he couldn't kill Jatayu because Jatayu, he had this, I have to tell Ram what happened. Ram was not here, I have to tell him. So he survived just to tell Ram, this is what happened. Otherwise he thought he would never find her. He doesn't know where he took her. Yeah. So anyway, pastimes happen. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatuskritam. He comes to give pleasure to his devotees, number one. And then while he's here, okay, I'm here already. Some demons, okay. But that's explained in this verse. And he comes to, so Ram appeared to give pleasure to his devotees. And Ravan, in a sense, is his devotee. He wanted to give Krishna a good fight. Yeah, so he also fulfills that. But he's acting like a very good demon, first class demon. Nobody's ever seen something like that. So when he dies, I'm like, finally, good riddance. Yeah, so everybody gets pleasure again. Yeah, but he cannot touch Sita. This we have to understand. So this it's explained like this, but
This is a story of Sita also. In the previous life, she was worshipping lordships to get him as her husband. But Ravana came and tried to enjoy her, and so he held the braids of her, and she removed it, and she said that she cursed Ravana that you cannot touch any woman against her wish. You cannot force her.
On a woman, yeah.
If you force, you will die,
Yeah.
and I'll be the cause of your death also. I think she cursed like that.
I think this was
That's-
Vedavati.
Vedavati.
Yeah, in her previous life.
Yeah, Vedavati.
Because this is what he did. He roamed around, any beautiful woman he saw, he thought it was for him.
And then
So she was doing penance. She wanted.
so she got her husband, Lord, as her husband.
Yeah.
She became the cause of Ravan's death,
Yeah.
and that's why Ravan also could not touch Sita in that way, because she was cursed.
He couldn't force himself.
Yeah.
If he did, he would immediately die.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so many things are happening. It's not like one you
Yeah.
touching. Yeah.
This is described. The pastimes of Krishna has many facets. Always, it's many. It's not just one thing or the other. It's always like multifaceted. So, and he's fulfilling everybody's desires fully. Can you imagine? Yeah, it's very difficult to understand. But for me, the Ramayana, I am very much attached to the Ramayana, but it's very painful for me that Lord Ram abandoned Sita a second time. This is something I cannot understand. It's too painful, too painful, too painful, too painful. She was pregnant, and the day that she announces to him, I am pregnant, he says, oh, very nice. He said, oh, you said you wanted to spend some time in the forest with the sages again. He cheats her, and he makes his younger brother cheat her for him. He never forgives him. Says, I'll never be born as your younger brother again. You do your own dirty work. You're never gonna make me do any of these things again. Yeah, Lakshman had to take her to the forest and abandon her there. And tell her, I'm really sorry, I have to leave you here. Imagine. Poor lady. Finally, just because a Dobiwala and his wife were quarreling on the marketplace. Can you imagine? Ram says, yeah, I have to be the perfect example. So even the laundryman doesn't have anything to say against me. I have to give you up. And then she is, Valmiki finds her. He had written the Ramayana already. He knew. That's also amazing. Valmiki knows what's happening. And he knows immediately this is Sita, gives her shelter, brings up the children, trains them up to be kings, Lava and Kush. And then they steal the horse, sacrificial horse, and then they meet their father. Anyway, but yeah, for me the Ramayana is, this part is too much. It's heavy. The whole story is actually quite heavy from the very beginning. You know, Dasarat is struggling to have children, and then he gets this curse by this, because he was an expert hunter. And there's somebody, I think I heard recently in class, somebody said, Kshatriyas always get in trouble when they're hunting. all the stories in our scriptures, they're hunting and something happens and they're in trouble. So Dasarat was hunting, and there was a crazy elephant that was running around and stampeding, killing rishis. So they had asked him to kill this elephant. So he had an idea where the elephant was, and his speciality was that he could just hear a sound, and he would throw an arrow and hit the target. That was Dasarat's special ability. And he heard a sound, and he thought it's the elephant filling his trunk in the river. Turned out it was a young boy who was filling up a pot for his blind parents to bring them water. He shot the arrow and killed him. And then when he was hit, he started screaming, "Oh, what happened? What happened? What have I done? Why have you done this to me?" So he ran and tried to save this boy, but he couldn't. And then this boy said, "Please take water to my parents. They depend on me. If I don't take water, they will die." So Dasarat, he brought this water, and he was crying because he felt so bad that he had just killed their son. And their parents, they hear, he said, "Oh, you're here. Come, we were worried about you. What took you so long?" And then he explains, he says, I'm really sorry, I'm not your son. I just killed your son." Imagine, what a situation. And the father, he was so disheartened. He said, "One day you will die feeling separation from your son." And that's what happened. Dasarat, he had to banish his son because one of his wives had this desire. No, so it's complicated. It's not really her desire, it's her maidservant's desire. And she eats up her head and convinces her, no, your son has to be the king. Actually, what happened was he got married to Kaushalya and he didn't have a son. And then he married Sumitra. He didn't have any children. So then he married Keikei. And Keikei's father, he said, her son has to be the king. And because he had no children, he said, yeah, sure. If she has a son, her son will be the king. So he did promise to her father that her son would be the king. But then they suggested, do this yajna, and you will have many sons. And he does, and he has 4 sons. And he's so happy. And then this maidservant comes and says, remember, your son is supposed to be the king. You're the youngest wife. His first wife is the favorite. If her son becomes the king. And then Keikei says, but I love Ram like my own son. And he treats me like his mother. I cannot do this to Ram. In the beginning, she tries to argue. She says, no. And Sumantra says, you're stupid. That's why you're a child and I am a woman. because you don't understand the politics. And then KK says, oh, okay, tell me what I have to do. And that's the first time there was an Oscar award given to KK. She got best acting of best actress of the year of the Yuga. She put up a fantastic show. And Dasharat is bound. He's bound by the promises he made her, by the promises he made her father, and by his own word. He says, if I don't keep my word, I'm not even a man. And he dies shortly after. So when he dies, Bharat was away. He died alone without any of his sons around him. So they called back Bharat and Shatrunga. He was visiting his grandfather in Kekeya. Comes back and they preserve the father's body for him to do the rites. He does the rites and he goes to find Ram in the forest. Says, this happened because I was not there. Come back. The father has passed away. Enough has happened already. So many tragedies. Come back. And Ram said, no. I promised to my father that I was going to do this. So you go back. You be a good king. Now come back. So Bharat goes back. And India is known as Bharat, after the brother of Lord Ram. Yeah. That's one of the stories. Anyway, Ramayana is very beautiful, and it's actually also done for us to have these emotions and these discussions, and I don't agree with this. Why did Ram do that? And then different devotees get together and yes, I agree. No, I don't agree. Yes, this was correct. No, that was not correct. And this is what the personalists do. They sit together, they discuss these pastimes, they cry, they laugh, they get angry, and then they have prasadam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Praise Krsna Mataji ki